Margaret loved the hush of antique stores on quiet afternoons. Each object whispered a story, and she delighted in imagining their origins. One chilly Tuesday, she wandered into a small shop tucked behind the church on Maple Street. The air smelled of old wood and wax, and a grandfather clock ticked softly in the corner. Shelves held tarnished silverware and faded books, but a painting near the back wall stopped her cold. It was a portrait of a woman with long, wavy hair and piercing blue eyes. The frame was chipped, the canvas cracked with age, but her expression, calm, almost knowing, felt alive. Margaret's heart quickened. The woman's face, with its rosy cheeks and delicate chin, mirrored her own, though younger, before gray hair and gentle lines. She blinked, half expecting the figure to speak. The shopkeeper, a wiry man with round glasses named Amos, noticed her stare. "That's been here ages," he said, polishing a brass candlestick. "Came from an estate sale up north, no name or artist. Folks say it's over a century old." His eyes twinkled. "Some swear it watches you?" Margaret asked about the woman's identity. Amos shrugged. "No clue, but old-timers here whisper about a lady who vanished long ago, left nothing but rumors." Unsettled yet drawn in, she bought the painting without hesitation. At home, she propped it on her living room mantel, unable to shake the resemblance. That evening, her granddaughter Ellie, a curious 16-year-old with a knack for puzzles, stopped by for tea. She froze when she saw the portrait. "Grandma, that's you." Margaret laughed nervously. "Uncanny, isn't it?" They sat comparing features, the nose, the brow, the faint smile. Ellie dug out a photo of Margaret at 20, and the match was startling, as if time had blurred. The painting seemed to hum with secrets. Ellie, ever the sleuth, dove into research. She scoured local archives, called antique experts, and posted on history forums. Within days, a Vermont historian responded with a lead. The painting might depict a Eleanor Whitmore, born 1874, who vanished in her 30s. No photos existed, only sketches and diaries mentioning her love of poetry and gardens. Margaret and Ellie traced Eleanor's life, uncovering a shock. She'd lived in their town, just blocks away, generations ago. More startling, Eleanor was Margaret's great-great-aunt, a relative erased from family lore. The painting wasn't just a look-alike, it was blood. Margaret's chest tightened with awe. It felt like Eleanor had reached across time. That night, as wind rattled the windows, Margaret woke with a start. A soft glow pulsed from the painting, bathing the room in eerie light. The woman's eyes seemed to flicker, holding hers with a knowing gaze. Heart pounding, she whispered, "Eleanor?" The light faded, leaving only shadows. Was it a dream? A trick of moonlight? The next morning, she told Ellie, who lit up with excitement. "We have to check it, Grandma. What if it's a clue?" With careful hands, they lifted the painting from its frame. Tucked behind the canvas was a folded paper, yellowed and brittle. Margaret's fingers trembled as she opened it. In elegant script, it read, "To those who seek, the past will call." The words felt like an invitation. Ellie's eyes sparkled. "This changes everything." They pored over records, visiting the town library where Amos, a regular, shared a tale he'd heard as a boy. Eleanor had been a dreamer, rumored to hide something precious before she disappeared. "Folks thought she'd run off with a lover," he said, but others swore she'd never leave her garden. The town buzzed with the story. Neighbors dropped by, drawn to the painting's mystery. Mrs. Carver, the florist, recalled her grandmother mentioning a lost Whitmore girl who loved roses. Another neighbor, old Mr. Tate, claimed the churchyard felt heavy near Eleanor's family plot, as if someone lingered. The local paper ran a piece, Portrait of the Past, and Margaret began sharing the tale at the library, her voice steady as she said, "The past finds us when we're ready." Inspired, Margaret painted again, something she hadn't done in years. Her canvases bloomed with flowers, faces, and light, each stroke echoing Eleanor's spirit. Ellie framed the photo of young Margaret and hung it beside the portrait. Visitors marveled at the pair, two women linked by fate across a century. Yet questions gnawed. Why had the painting glowed? What did the note mean? One evening, Ellie found a diary in the archives, Eleanor's, dated days before her disappearance. "I've hidden my heart where none will look. If it's found, may it heal what's broken." Margaret's throat tightened. Had Eleanor left to protect a secret? A love? A truth? A treasure? They searched further, but answers slipped like shadows. The painting glowed faintly once more, during a late-night storm, as Margaret read the diary aloud. Its light felt warm, not eerie, as if nodding approval. She shivered, sensing Eleanor's presence. A whisper of courage, not fear. Margaret and Ellie visited the churchyard, where roses still grew wild near the Whitmore plot. Kneeling, Margaret touched the soil, feeling a pulse of connection. She imagined Eleanor choosing to vanish, perhaps to guard something sacred, a choice only she understood. The painting had brought her home, not to solve every riddle, but to weave her story into theirs. The town embraced the mystery. Some neighbors claimed the painting's eyes followed them. Others felt peace in its gaze. Margaret didn't mind the whispers. She'd vowed to honor Eleanor, not unravel her entirely. At the library, she ended her talks with, "Sometimes the past speaks in glances, not answers." One spring day, Ellie planted roses by Margaret's porch, a nod to Eleanor's garden. As they worked, the painting sat nearby, catching sunlight. Margaret swore it brightened, a silent companion. She didn't need every truth. The portrait had found her, a bridge to her roots, a spark for her art, a bond with Ellie. In quiet moments, Margaret studied the woman's face, her face, and felt whole. The past wasn't gone. It lived in her brushstrokes, in Ellie's questions, in the rose's bloom. Eleanor's fate remained a shadow, but her spirit was clear, guiding them home through time's gentle folds.